Ruth Johnson had always believed time softened wounds. She invited both of them to Sunday dinner. Naomi arrived late. Malik arrived early. As Malik helped his mother in the kitchen, Ruth studied him closely. "You seem different," she said carefully. Malik smiled. "I feel lighter." Ruth hesitated. "Your sister says you've been distant." Malik met her eyes. "I've been honest." That startled her. During dinner, Naomi interrupted Malik twice. The third time, he gently said, "Naomi, please don't cut me off." The table went quiet. Ruth stared at them both. And for the first time, she noticed. Not Naomi's confidence. Not Malik's silence. But the imbalance. Later that night, Ruth sat alone in her bedroom, replaying years she'd brushed aside. And guilt finally knocked. Ruth called Malik the next day. "I owe you an apology," she said softly. Malik closed his eyes. "For what?" he asked, not accusing, just curious. "For not protecting your heart," she said. "For thinking quiet meant okay." Malik swallowed hard. "I didn't want to cause problems," he replied. "I know," Ruth said, voice breaking. "And I let that become your burden." They cried together. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But honestly. Life humbled Naomi in ways lectures never could. Bills piled up. Friends disappeared. Loneliness crept in when attention faded. She wanted to call Malik. To vent. To lean. To be rescued. But she stopped herself. "He's not my backup plan," she thought. "He's my brother." So she called a therapist instead. And for the first time, Naomi faced her reflection without filters. Naomi didn't emerge from therapy kinder overnight. She emerged uncomfortable. She learned words she hated. Accountability. Entitlement. Avoidance. She learned she'd confused dominance with strength. One evening, she texted Malik. "I'm learning how much I took from you without asking." Malik read it twice. Then replied, "Thank you for saying that." And meant it. Months passed. Their relationship stabilized, not because they tried harder, but because Malik stopped overgiving. They laughed now. They disagreed. They respected space. Naomi didn't assume access. Malik didn't fear abandonment. One afternoon, Naomi said quietly, "You know, I didn't love you well." Malik nodded. "I know. But you still loved me," she added. "Yes," he said. "But now I love myself too." She smiled sadly. That's what changed everything. With emotional weight lifted, Malik's world expanded. He applied for a leadership role. Started dating again. Traveled. He no longer explained his boundaries. He lived them. People adjusted, or left. And he let them. Peace, Malik discovered, was not fragile. It was selective. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. It meant Malik stopped reliving childhood pain every time Naomi spoke. It meant Naomi stopped defending herself every time Malik was honest. It meant love no longer required sacrifice of dignity. They were never the siblings Malik once fantasized about. No late-night secrets. No effortless closeness. But they were real. And real was enough. On Malik's birthday, Naomi handed him a small box. Inside was a notebook. On the first page, she'd written, "I didn't love you when you needed it, but I'm learning to love you without needing anything." Malik closed the book slowly. This time, the tears didn't hurt. From the outside, Malik's life looked calm. Stable job. Clean apartment. Peaceful routines. But healing didn't erase memory, it reorganized it. Sometimes, while driving, Malik would remember a moment from childhood and feel the old sting. But now, instead of shrinking, he acknowledged it. "That hurt me. And I survived it." That honesty gave him power. Naomi struggled with consistency more than apology. Showing up once was easy. Staying present was hard. But she tried. She showed up on time. She asked before borrowing. She listened even when it made her uncomfortable. One afternoon, she caught herself interrupting Malik and stopped mid-sentence. "Sorry," she said. "Go ahead." Malik paused, then smiled. It was a small moment, but it meant everything. Thanksgiving came. Extended family filled their mother's house with noise and opinions. Someone joked, "Naomi always was the strong one." Malik felt the familiar tightening in his chest. But before he could respond, Naomi spoke. "Actually," she said calmly, "Malik carried more than anyone. I just talked louder." The room went quiet. Ruth looked at them both, really looked. That was the moment Malik realized. He didn't need validation anymore, but receiving it still mattered. Naomi called one evening. "I don't need anything," she said quickly. "I just wanted to hear your voice." Malik laughed softly. "You don't have to explain." "I know," she replied. "I just wanted you to know the difference." And he did. Her name was Ariana Brooks. She didn't mistake kindness for weakness. She didn't compete for space. She listened. When Malik told her about his family, she said, "You don't owe anyone access to you." Those words felt like rest. Naomi met Ariana for coffee. Not to intimidate. Not to interrogate. Just to know her. "I'm glad you're with him," Naomi said honestly. "He deserves peace." Ariana nodded. "So do you." For the first time, Naomi believed that too. Ruth watched her children change, and learned from it. She stopped excusing behavior. Stopped calling silence maturity. Stopped confusing peacekeeping with love. One night, she told Malik, "I raised you to endure. I should have raised you to speak." Malik hugged her. "It's okay," he said. "I learned." Malik wrote a letter he never planned to give Naomi. "I loved you before I loved myself. That's why it hurt. Now I love us differently, without disappearing." He folded it, placed it in a drawer, and felt complete without sending it. Naomi and Malik didn't talk every day. They didn't need to. Love no longer required proximity, just honesty. They were siblings, not enmeshed, not distant, balanced. On a quiet evening, Malik stood on his balcony, city lights glowing. Ariana inside. Peace around him. Boundaries intact. He thought about the boy who begged for his sister's kindness. And smiled. That boy had grown into a man who knew his worth. Peace took time for Malik to trust. For most of his life, calm meant something bad was coming. Silence meant he was being forgotten. Kindness came with conditions. So when life finally slowed, when no one demanded, blamed, or dismissed him, his body didn't relax immediately. Ariana noticed. "You're always bracing," she said gently one night as they sat on the couch. Malik exhaled. "I'm learning how not to." She squeezed his hand. "You don't have to earn rest." That sentence stayed with him. Growth didn't make Naomi perfect. One stressful month, she snapped at Malik during a phone call. "You think you're better than me now," she said bitterly. The old Malik would have apologized. The new Malik paused. "No," he replied calmly. "I think I'm responsible for myself. That's all." Silence. Then a shaky breath on the other end. "You're right," Naomi said quietly. "I'm projecting." She called back the next day to apologize. That was new. Not the mistake, but the repair. When Malik proposed to Ariana, Naomi cried. Not from jealousy. Not from fear of losing him. From pride. At the wedding, Naomi didn't center herself. Didn't dominate the room. Didn't need to be noticed. She stood beside Malik during the family photos and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me, but also not giving up on yourself." Malik smiled. That's how this worked. One evening, Ariana asked, "What hurt you the most growing up?" Malik thought for a long time. "Feeling like I had to disappear to keep the peace," he said. Ariana nodded. "Our kids won't learn that." That promise mattered. Their son, Caleb, was born in 2027. When he cried, Malik didn't rush to quiet him. He listened. When Caleb spoke, Malik knelt. "I hear you," he'd say. Every time, it healed something old. Naomi approached her role carefully. No control. No comparison. No competition. One afternoon, she watched Malik comfort Caleb and felt a pang of grief for the sister she hadn't been. But instead of drowning in it, she learned from it. Ruth held her grandson and cried. "I did better than my parents," she said. "But not better enough." Malik hugged her. "You taught us how to survive. We're teaching our kids how to live." Ruth nodded. That's progress. Years passed. Naomi built a steady life. Malik built a peaceful one. They weren't close in the dramatic way people expected. They were healthy. And that was revolutionary. One night, Malik watched Caleb play on the floor and realized something profound. The pain stopped with him. Not loudly. Not violently. But deliberately. Malik wrote one last journal entry. "I loved my sister even when she couldn't love me. But I loved myself enough to stop begging." That's where everything changed. He closed the book. And for the first time in his life, love felt mutual. Not because everyone changed, but because he did. Time moved the way it always does. Quietly, without asking permission. Malik turned 40. His hair showed threads of gray. His laugh came easier. His shoulders no longer carried the tension of being misunderstood. At his birthday dinner, Naomi sat across from him, calm, present, steady. Not the sister he once chased. The sister she'd learned to become. They never pretended the past didn't exist. They just stopped living inside it. When memories surfaced, they named them. When hurt returned, they addressed it. When space was needed, they respected it. That mutual respect, earned, not assumed, became the foundation they never had growing up. One evening, Caleb, now 10, asked Malik a simple question. "Dad, were you and Aunt Naomi always close?" Malik paused. "No," he said honestly. "But we learned how to love each other better." Caleb nodded, thoughtful. "I like that." So did Malik. Naomi confessed something one afternoon as they walked through a park. "I used to think love was control," she said. "If someone needed me, I mattered." Malik listened. "Now I know love is choice," she continued. "You choose people, even when you don't need anything." Malik smiled. "That's growth." She nodded. "You taught me that by leaving me no other option." Ruth grew older, softer. One day, she pulled Malik aside. "I see now what I missed," she said. "And I'm sorry it took so long." Malik hugged her. "You learned. That counts." She smiled. "You broke a cycle I didn't know how to name." Family gatherings no longer felt heavy. No guilt. No silent roles. No unspoken expectations. Everyone showed up as they were, or not at all. And that freedom made love real. Malik stood one evening, watching Ariana and Caleb laugh in the kitchen. He thought about the boy who begged for his sister's affection. That boy didn't disappear. He healed. It was never just about Naomi, or favoritism, or neglect. It was about a man learning that love should not cost you your voice. That family doesn't excuse harm. And boundaries don't destroy love, they define it. Malik wrote one final note in his journal. "I stopped begging. I stopped shrinking. And when I stood still in my truth, love finally met me there." Malik closed the journal. Outside, the city hummed. Inside, his life felt whole. He didn't lose his sister. He found himself. And that changed everything.